City Council. It's good to spend another evening with you. Thank you, staff, for being here, and all of our visitors. Great to have you. All of our folks online, welcome. This is April 22nd, and this is a regular study session of the City Council of the City of Waverly, Iowa, and we are called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, you have in front of you an agenda. It's also been published to the public. Is anyone in the mood to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion? This is a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Welcome back, Professor Ellerbrook. Nice to have you. Sorry that it's your last meeting. We'll miss you as a visiting council person, but I hope you've had fun.
I have.
Is there anyone who would like to make public comments on items that are not currently on the agenda? I see no one rising, so we'll move to the study session calendar. We're at item number 1, Waverly Chamber of Commerce and Main Street Quarterly Update. Mr. Tolliver.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Thank you for having us this evening. I do have printed copies of the dashboard that I sent out earlier this afternoon. Does anybody need one of those? Not seeing any. Pass on that. I am going to ask Carla to take one and pass it out. I always like to come with gifts. First item to be going around is the Chamber Main Street's annual report. I'd invite you to take a look at that. I'm only going to be reviewing the dashboard that I sent you, but there's more information about how we ended 2023 if you'd like to have some more info on that. The second thing that's going around is, as you know, as of last year, the Chamber Main Street started a travel program with Chamber Discoveries. We had a successful couple of people go to Scotland last year, and so we are doing that again this year. In the end of October, we are inviting people to join us to go to Normandy and Provence in France on a river cruise. So if people are interested in that and traveling with the Chamber, we urge you and them to contact us, and we'd be more than happy to help you out and have some travels with other Iowans around the world. To be respectful of your time, I'm going to go through the dashboard real quick, just look at some stats for 2024. As far as volunteer hours, we have 93 volunteers working with us right now with a total of 240 hours for the first quarter. That's a total labor value of just under $7,200, excuse me. As far as new members, we had 19 back in 2023. Our goal is 25 new members this year. We are already at 15 for the first quarter. We had 233 retained businesses, which kept us at 90% retention rate. Our goal is always to have a 100% retention rate. And this year we have our membership renewals back from 186 of those 233. We have Chamber Champions. Those are individual investors to the Chamber. We have not rolled out that individual campaign yet, but as we do, we will get you more information on how many of those return back to us or are new to joining the Chamber. We had 115 engaged business visits last year. Goal is 100. Already started at 20 for the quarter. And then as far as being the visitor center and getting inquiries about businesses and other things around town, we like to keep track of that for you. So we ended 2023 with 75 visitor information inquiries, 614 business resources inquiries, and 242 other inquiries. For the first quarter, we already have 6 for visitors, 148 for business resources, and 111 inquiries for other things around the community.
Mr. Tolliver, what is an engaged business visit? Is that the ribbon cuttings?
Yeah, those are like that, but also in addition to that, those are me going out or some members of my staff going out and actually engaging in conversation with business owners,
Okay.
not just popping in to buy something or say hi. We actually talk and ask about how business is doing and what they feel like they could need or want from the Chamber.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome. Going down to projects and events that we completed, there's a list there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just to say that we had a pretty active first quarter. Want to just mention a couple things. We did host several of our quarterly events, but the big thing was really our annual awards celebration at the end of March. That acts as our annual meeting for the organization. Those of you who were able to come, we thank you for your presence there. Those of you who were not able to join us, you missed out on a great time. We appreciate the mayor's presence there as well. We had 5 awards that we give away, and just want to highlight those award winners real quick for a large business, distinguished large business in our community. Baker Construction won that award. For a distinguished nonprofit was Bremer County Historical Society. Distinguished small business award went to Waverly Newspapers. The Community Service Award, which goes to an individual, was for Ed Clampeth for his time as leading our school district. And for the Lifetime Achievement Award, Susan Vallum was our winner that evening. And all awards are deservingly awarded to those businesses and individuals. And finally, just on Friday, attended the Main Street Iowa Annual Development Awards, and we were able to honor our past chair, Kristen Val, with the Governor's Leadership Award for her service to the Main Street program. On the backside, you'll see something very familiar to those of you who've been on council for the last few years. It's just a kind of an update on where we're at with our organizational strategic plan. Several of these initiatives are in progress. Some of them are completed, but a lot of them are ongoing as well. With regards to our bridge objectives, with taking a look at developing some methods for feedback from downtown businesses about their concerns. We've not started that yet. I will say, though, I'll hyphenate that by saying that we did have a very productive meeting with downtown retailers and businesses. The mayor was there and members of city staff, and a very productive meeting where we talked about what their expectations were from us as an organization during that project. And most of which was to be able to enhance what we already do for events downtown. They also were concerned about enhanced marketing for downtown businesses during that time. So we'll be taking a look at how we can beef up some marketing efforts for that. And then also for any kind of signage that can help people find their way to downtown in addition to whatever the DOT provides, which I'm sure is not going to be a whole lot, but whatever we can do to help out and make the scenic route to downtown a little bit more valuable for those businesses. And then also to seeing what else we can do as far as earmarking some funds that may be able to help businesses that might have some financial strains during that time as well. So things are still in progress in that front, but we look forward to trying to be a resource for our businesses during that time. Anything that I can answer for you right now based on the dashboard of the information I've shared?
I was just wondering, Travis.
Yes.
Would it be possible for you to share with us the names of the other people that are on Dan McKenzie's Bridge Committee?
Yeah, so, and actually, I should say that Dan McKenzie has decided to step back as far as leading that committee, given the timing of the project and his timing of his retirement and his wife's retirement. He wants to spend a little bit more time at home. Dan McKenzie was also joined by, I'm going to think about Dwayne Waterbury, Andrew Bell, Shirley McKenzie.
That's going to put you on the spot, so
Yeah,
that's all right.
there's another person, I can't think of their name right now, I apologize, but we're in the process of trying to identify a new leader for that group so that we can have somebody help leading those efforts and those charges when the time comes.
All right.
What is
Brent.
a business resources inquiry?
Yeah, so if businesses call up and ask for maybe a demographic data on the community or open storefronts, if they're looking for maybe a possible location for a new business, any kind of resources that we can provide that relate to the business industry.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, I'll hand things over to Bob Buckingham, who is our 2024 board chair.
Sure. And thank you, everybody, for giving us some time this evening. Paula Stevenson, the last name that Travis was searching for. Paula was, in fact, she's on the committee, and of course, she was very involved in the last big, street project.
Right.
And I think, particularly in communicating, kind of back and forth community and with the businesses and so on, and I think she'll probably fill a similar role in this regard. In fact, Travis has already taken one of the things. I wanted to talk about a few of the initiatives we've got going on here early in the year, and that certainly is the top of the list. Travis has already kind of spoken to that. One thing I would note, as Travis mentioned, we did have, I thought, an excellent session with a variety of business owners downtown, kind of throughout the community, and other stakeholders. I think Mark was there and several others a few months ago. And one of the things that struck me, that one of the retailers downtown here on the east side said, kind of a surprising assessment that he's done of customers that he has, said that 80% of his business comes from out of town, which pretty amazing. Now, that may be unusual for his particular business, but I think that kind of gives you an indication that we do attract people from outside town. A couple other things I would mention, just kind of ongoing, but things that we do every year. Our facade improvement grant program is now available for this year. It's a 50-50 matching that we grant up to $4,000 to a business to improve their facade or infrastructure of their building in some way. Over the past 5 years, we've given out $20,000, so $4,000 each of those years for the program. That's resulted in over $165,000 in improvements in our community. So, been very successful, and it's a good encouragement for our businesses to do work on their buildings. Then, of course, a big event coming up in the next few weeks here is the Art Walk. We are accepting we're accepting artist applications for this 19th annual Art Walk. 37 to date we've had, 9 of which are new for this year. So we're very encouraged by that. The event serves as a kickoff for our spring community and generates a great deal of interest and activity in Waverly. Art Walk is not only a great event for the community members, but it also offers a chance to showcase Waverly. And I certainly know we do that both for the artists who come from all around, but also visitors really from all of Northeast Iowa, including Minnesota and Wisconsin. So we get folks from a pretty wide geographic area. So that's really all I have. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Steve Williamson, unless you have any questions for me. Okay, Steve, we like to have at each of these sessions a little bit of a chance for you to engage with one of our members. And Steve represents First Bank, which happens to be a founding member of the chamber, and so we thought it'd be a good opportunity for him to speak. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Well, yeah, thank you, Bob. Thanks for having me tonight. Again, like Bob said, I'm Steve Williamson. I'm president at First Bank in Waverly. I just thought I'd share a few words about the Waverly Chamber Main Street program this evening. First Bank made the decision to actually increase our financial support or our membership level of the Waverly Chamber Main Street program in 2024. We're involved in several communities around the state of Iowa. We certainly talk with our peers, but our experience has been a strong community chamber Main Street program leads to a much stronger business community and retail base. Hopefully that'll in turn lead to a much stronger and prosperous community, and then that'll lead to a place where people really want to live and work. So certainly we have a vested interest to make sure that Waverly stays strong, and we want to continue our support. Next, my personal involvement. I've had a chance to be involved in the Chamber Main Street probably since I moved to Waverly. I've served on several terms on the Chamber Main Street Board. I'm a past board chair. I was treasurer, I think, for 6 years and served on lots of different the committees over the years. I've seen firsthand all the good that the Chamber Main Street program does in Waverly. Certainly, whether it be just helping with business incentives, the revolving loan fund, the facade grant program like Bob mentioned, or just all the coordination that goes into all the community and business events. The Chamber Main Street really makes things happen in Waverly. And then lastly, at First Bank, as a community bank, we're very proud of all of our employees and all the volunteer hours they put into the Chamber Main Street programs, whether it be serving on committees. We've had many, many people serve on the board or just volunteering for projects. We're just very proud of that. We try to make things happen for the Chamber Main Street program as well. And at First Bank, we've been very proud of our financial support of the program over the years, and we certainly plan to continue that support. And I would certainly hope that the city plans to continue to support the program as well. So, thank you. Yeah, do you have any questions of me, or? Okay. Thank you very much.
It looks like that concludes study session number 1 on the Waverly Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Chamber. That takes us to item 2, an update on the golf course clubhouse reconstruction. Is that you, James?
It's actually Mark Moyne from MGA Architects. He's going to show you some of the renderings that we're at so far. We're looking for kind of a consensus to move forward somewhat with the design so we can get eventual costing estimates and so forth. So I've been working with him for quite a bit. He did a little pro bono work for us a year ago just to kind of see what it could be. And since then, we've been able to kind of fine tune it and kind of see what we've got tonight for you to look at so you can kind of see where we are.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here. As James mentioned, we've been working on this for a few months, working with James and Jordan and Garrett on this, trying to determine a program for a new clubhouse out at the public course there. So we started off with kind of an assessment of what we have out there for a facility, and then talked about what we needed to see in a new facility. As we look at the existing one, there's some issues with that. First and foremost with handicap accessibility, which of course is a liability issue, which we want to eliminate all those possibilities as we can. So what we're looking at here with a facility is going to be all single-story handicap accessible throughout the building, and from parking lot to the building, out to the course, etc. So we can eliminate that. There's energy efficiency issues also with the existing facility. Its functionality, because it's on so many levels, is not feasible for them to work out with that. So we addressed several of those items, and I'm going to walk you through what we've come up with so far. So we've got some floor plan, some start of some exterior views, and some site discussion to have also. And this is a work in progress, so this is an update. This is nothing nearly close to final, so it's just diagrammatic and for visual purposes.
Just to be clear, we're not talking about a rehabilitation of what's out there. This is a total knockdown and reconstruction.
No, could you turn off this?
Sure.
Yeah, so everybody kind of get a view of this.
Thank you.
Yes, this would be a reconstruction. With the current prices of, say, a rehabilitation or remodeling, et cetera, in this particular case, we would be dollars ahead if we were to start from scratch, just because of the levels that we're working with. If you take it down partially, you'll spend more time and labor trying to accomplish something that's still not going to function because you're still dealing with multiple levels, et cetera. So yes, this would be a complete reconstruction, new building. So to orient yourselves here, this would be north, so this would be the parking lot side up here. You have a main entry coming in here, come into a pro shop area, public restrooms, a point of control for whoever is working at that point. And I'll touch on that a little bit more here, but I'm going to keep walking you around. Main lounge area, hitting bays, golf simulators, food and support areas here, beverages, tucked off to the northwest. One of the big things that we talked about is staffing. And, we'd like to potentially get to the point where we could have this operated by one person at a time. So control was a key issue. So what we've developed is, if we develop a point of control right there, whoever's working there can monitor, have visual control of who's coming into the building. They can take care of green fees and carts right there. They also are able to take care of food and beverage at that point. They're able to look out over the lounge area and see what's going on there. We've got glass in the walls into the simulator bays, so they can look into there and have visual control what's going on in there. Glass on the southern wall also, which is looking, of course, over the view of the course, but they have visual control of the patio also. And another key thing was being able to monitor what's especially happening on the number 10 tee box. So they have visual controls. There's been some issues with maybe people wanting to cut in. So being able to control that a little bit. And depending on final orientation of the building, we'll also have some visual control of number 1 tee box. So from this single point, you'll be able to control all the aspects. So it's just going to be a matter of, how busy is the course of the time. Is there a tournament going on or something like that? We obviously need to have multiple people. The hitting bay, east side of the building, there are 4 hitting bays. It's oriented so that there are 3 together, which are primarily public. There's a 4th one that's oriented along, perpendicular to those, which is on the north side. That is primarily for private lessons that Jordan would be giving. It is also set up that in off seasons, when the rest of the clubhouse is closed, they could still have a separate access into that right off the parking lot, still do the lessons without having to open up the entire club. And then also, if it is a busy time and say there's a large event that wants all 4 hitting bays, some type of retractable door or wall system could open up that they would have access to all 4 of those doors or all 4 of those hitting bays. The dining area, the lounge area, we're showing that at a maximum capacity right there of 160, which is to have seating for a large tournament. So that people can go in there and sit completely inside. If weather is bad or whatever, people can sit inside the facility that way. Primarily though, it'll be set up for, and it's not 100%, but roughly half. 80 people will be sitting out in the space. Extra tables and chairs can be stored away then. South of that on the exterior is an outdoor patio, and you'll see this in some of these perspectives. We're showing it now as partially covered, partially open, so that people can have a choice if you want to sit in the sun or if you want to sit in the shade. They have that option. It's also going to be handicap accessible off of the backside there, and then the food and beverage area, the prep areas, the support areas, coolers, etc., storage is tucked away. It's set up so that this is on the non-view side. This is all view of the course. Any questions on that?
Is it going to have a full kitchen?
That is going to be determined in development. We've got it set up kind of standard, what we've done in the past. It may be smaller, maybe larger. It probably won't be a full kitchen. I don't think there'll be cooks back there morning till night, but that's to be determined.
So I understand that the simulators rent for $40 to $50 an hour. So if we have 4 of them, and if we can keep them even kind of busy through January, February, March, April, that would generate a great deal of revenue, am I right?
It would.
That's a good idea.
Well, we're looking at winter leagues too, which are getting
Oh.
extremely popular, so you play all year round. You're seeing them everywhere in people's homes. They have them in garages. They have simulators set up that are hitting there, and there's not very many to have 4. It would make us more of a central point, and I think it will generate a substantial amount of revenue actually through those months and beyond. Even in an afternoon, if you don't want to be out in the weather, you still have the simulators to hit. Jordan and I went to Asbury to look at their remodel, and they have a number of bays as well. And the ironic part of it, talking to their pro, was it's brought in an entire segment of population who don't golf, and probably won't golf, but they'll hit the simulators. It's almost game-ish, it's almost, you have little kids that hit, they have games, they have putting things. It was shocking what they can do with those. And so it brought in an entire group of people that just don't golf, but they will come and use the simulators and pay that rental fee to do it. So it's just a lot of possibility that we thought we'd capitalize on. And that's kind of what you're seeing.
Does that course keep their lounge or restaurant open when people come in the off-season?
I believe so. And they have like a patio that's fenced in as well and glassed in. So I mean, but the simulators are the most popular thing they have there throughout the fall, through winter, into the spring.
Most of the simulator setups that I've participated in, they do all have winter leagues, and they're all quite full, and there's usually food and beverage available too.
Yep. Garrett can kind of pass that around to the gallery back there that can't see it, so they at least get an idea.
This is, again, diagrammatic. We have not started color palette selections or material selections yet, but this is just for form and style, etc. So this would be coming from the north. This would be a view coming from the parking lot. And so we're working on this facade here. There's going to be opportunity for some signage, some branding that's going to go out there for the city, for the rec department, for the golf course, however we determine that needs to be developed. Circling somewhat around the side, a glass entry, try and make that a little more inviting for people that are coming into the facility. This is that private access to that hitting simulator for lessons. This is the south side. So this is that patio I was talking about, behind the glass here. That's your lounge area. This again is looking out to the south, looking over the golf course, which is the primary view, and then just kind of looking from one end to the other down the patio. So you can see, as I mentioned earlier, it's partially covered, so people have the option to sit in the shade or the sun. With the roof angles and lines that we are showing here, we've started preliminary views of what sun shading would look like. So we want to have daylighting, but not necessarily direct sunlight. So we ran scenarios at the solstices and at the equinoxes so far to show that there's a lot of glass, but there's really not a lot of direct sunlight coming in. It's a lot of indirect, so it just illuminates the interior space nicely without getting burnt out from the sun or fading, those kinds of issues. Also along the south side, in our discussion, we thought this wall, which is the south side of the simulator bays, there could be a large scorecard for tournaments, etc., that can go up in there. Also on the outside patio place, we're envisioning maybe there's some television screens up there so that you can watch a tournament or whatever you choose to watch. A couple of interior views. Start of simulator bays in the lower corner. This is kind of looking from the entryway across the lounge area. So you can see the seating and then the daylighting, clear story lighting above. Again, you can see the roofs above, so it's just letting in the daylighting and so forth. And then looking back to the north from the interior, back the entryway, the pro shop area, the food and beverage area, check-in. And then this is just a site. So this is showing topography, so our elevations around the building. The building is currently sitting right up here, which is right at the crest of the hill, which is the prime location for it. It has the best views, obviously, if you've been there. We're planning on putting the new building pretty much right on top. It'll be a different footprint, of course, but it'll be essentially in the same spot. One of the reasons for that is not only is it the prime view to the south, but we've got the courses wrapping around on 3 sides. And Jordan can speak to it better than I can. Modifying the course is really not much of an option because of distances and the added cost. And it's also set up that the other building has to come down again because it's not like a site where we can build a new one and then tear the other one down later. It's too tight, especially with the steep drop off on the north side.
Would we be able to use like trailers or some kind of temporary thing for people to be able to check in the golf while the construction is going on?
That's what I've seen done when they're doing a clubhouse. I don't know, Jordan, if you've seen anything different, but a lot of times it's a pull-up trailer, temporary classroom looking item that you're checking in, you're getting your keys for your cart, it's limited, coolers, access, some of that, but this could be built in a season, correct? I mean, it's a year only, so it'd be just one season you would miss, and then you'd be back. And so that would be the ultimate, is to know that this is a temporary 1 year. We'd place that somewhere probably quite a bit west, just to have access at that point. But the biggest part of this, if you go to the golf course, you go up, there's a big step down, there's all that's going to get removed. It's going to go down to one flat level, so it is accessible to everyone. And I don't think it'll hurt the view at all, because it's not going to drop that much. Maybe a little bit, take some out of that hill, but overall, I think it'll be smaller than the current footprint, current square footage. It's just going to be on that one single level, and we'll go to patio instead of a deck.
Yeah, whatever materials are chosen for the exterior of the building, they're going to be high durability, zero maintenance.
Council, there's no vote tonight, but I'm looking for a consensus that we should move forward with these kinds of ideas. Any comments on that?
Do you have any sort of cost estimate? I mean, I know it's hard to give us an exact number, but both to tear down the current building and then do this?
Yeah, at this point, it is kind of difficult to do that because we have so many variables out there, most of which are involved with the site. Now, materials, of course, will weigh into the cost estimate also, but there's a lot of what ifs with the site now, so.
What kind of what ifs?
Elevation for the most part. Elevation and where the scope of the work starts and stops, meaning how much grading is going to go around the building, or we have to get into some of these existing cart paths that are going around or not. We'd like to stay away from those. How much of the parking lot is going to stay or how much is going to get replaced. And it's all going to be part of a discussion back and forth, in conjunction with what that budget will be. So we're going to work towards that, and then, once we get some of those answers, we'll be able to start putting numbers together.
Is there any concern about any environmental issues with the site prep? Or is it just basically making it buildable?
It's mostly making it buildable because we are essentially putting on the same footprint of what we're working with now. So that does help alleviate that we're not going into some, brownfield or something like that. So again, once we get the civil information and we start doing some test borings and so forth, then we'll get those answers. But at this point, because we are on the same footprint, we don't anticipate much of an issue. We've included some rework of utilities already. We know that will happen.
Do you envision that the practice bays are going to take the place of an outdoor practice facility? I know that idea has been thrown around. And if so, are 3 bays enough?
I can only speak for myself. When the weather's nice, I'm outside.
Like February?
February, I'm inside.
We looked at that, and we got some initial pricing, and I don't even want to talk about it right now. It's expensive when you're talking poles and netting and a range, and because of the proximity to the park and what's going to be there, you almost have to net it, and it just, at this point in time, I just think moving forward with indoor bays that are more reliable will be better. It's not to say someday going forward we couldn't do that. A lot of the property we were looking at is not used much now. It's the tore up tractor pole tear up things part. So it's possible going forward, but there's only so much room there to start with. And that's where we kind of ran into it as well, because the bays are all year long.
But do you
For sure.
think, do you think 3 is enough? I guess is my
Well,
question.
4, I mean,
Hopefully Jordan's gonna be in there busy giving lessons.
I'm sure he will be. They're not free. I mean, I've not seen many more than 3
Okay,
in a facility. I don't know too many that have more than that. It's,
Most of mine is done down in Cedar Rapids, and they've got 3.
okay,
I mean, you'll see foursomes playing each
yeah.
bay, hitting, playing games, things like that. You can play another team from Texas if you want to, because the tech is there to do that. It's impressive what they can do, but I think you're gonna see that full all the time, and I think 3 is a lot.
Okay.
It gotta be plenty.
And really playing in a bay, an hour in a bay is about 18, you can get about 18.
You get a lot of swings in if you want,
Yeah.
in an hour inside. It's like a driving range in itself. You can knock a bucket out in an hour, you're not gonna play 80 shots, well, some of us are gonna play 80 shots. You're not gonna play 80 shots in an hour. A lot of times, you're gonna hit that many through a bay repetitively. But that's where, the food, the drink, the atmosphere, everything makes that an experience that you don't get in a driving range, at least not that often.
I can hit 80 shots in the first 3 holes.
I tell you, it's nights have felt like that before, so yes.
9 holes, right?
The one thing I didn't, and that was the first rendering, was just kind of the amount of space for the pro shop type of sales and merchandise. How does that compare to what, I mean, the space that we have now, which isn't exactly luxurious, but how does the new space compare to what is currently there?
Well, that's another part, just like with the kitchen, is gonna be developed in this next stage, because we'll be sitting down with Jordan and saying exactly, what is your vision for this? How much display space do you need? And we do have it somewhat built into the plan right now that's gonna be easy enough for us to expand or contract that size also.
I found it interesting that there's a food and beverage area, but there's not an actual bar with bar stools. We're not trying to make this into a heavy drinking place,
Yeah.
just, a place a guy can get a good adult beverage after playing some golf,
Or a gal.
or gal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to have a restaurant area. I think one of my concerns, and this isn't necessarily golf course's problem, but I think when we redesign Memorial Park, the 4-H building's gonna go away, and that's a big community center, and so I wonder where people are gonna have events. People rent it now for, family gatherings, et cetera, and so, not to say that we wanna start a year-round restaurant in the clubhouse, but I just wonder where that's gonna happen when that building goes away. And I think we need to be thinking about that as a community. But I'm certainly in support of doing this. I think the old building is, like you said, it had its day, and it was the place to be years ago, but it's, people with disabilities can't get in and out of there. It's cramped, drafty, et cetera. So I think we need a new building.
I would think with a kitchen there, it would be more like thinking burgers,
Yeah,
dogs,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
grill type things
Sure.
for
Golf food.
Golf
golf
food.
food snacks.
So are you suggesting, Ann, that maybe this could be another location such as the Veterans Center or on the top of the hospital, the
Tendrils.
tendrils?
Yeah, I mean, I think-
Something that people could use as a larger group meeting kind of thing, but without a full food service?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying this building needs to be that, because I know staffing's an issue and Jordan's not in the restaurant business, right? But I also think as a community, I think we need to think about that when we look at the big design of Memorial Park, is do we have room? Especially if we don't end up using one section for a golf practice facility, do we have room in that park somewhere for a community building? That's simple, but, usable and, because I think that's going to be a loss when the 4-H building goes away. So just something to think about in the big picture.
My thoughts on this, I mean, it's obvious that we have to do something with the building. It's not functional in its current configuration, and this makes a lot of sense. I like where this is going. I think it's something that's doable. I had never even thought about having the golf centers in there. That makes a lot of sense to me, because that will make the facility useful all year round, not just the rent from the golf simulators, but also people coming there and having a beer or soda afterwards, or a hamburger or whatever, would allow us to be able to use the facility all year long and continue to cash flow it, not have to lock it up for 6 months during the year. So I really love that idea. I think that's fantastic. The first time I looked at this, I was thinking, do we really need a seating area that will seat 180 people? I know that, construction costs per square foot are very high. Would it be possible to make that into a smaller area? But as I was listening, I was thinking, what we want to do is we want to build this, we don't want to build this too small. That will be the biggest danger we have, is to say, well, let's cut some corners on this, let's make this smaller, or let's eliminate this, or whatever. We don't want to make it too small, because we want this building to be successful, and for that to happen, it needs to be able to do the things that we want it to do. And I was thinking somewhere along the lines that Ann was talking about, but if we did have a room that could handle 150, 160 people at tables for various events, we wouldn't really have to have a kitchen there. I mean, most of those events are catered anyway. So you could have a catered event out at that building. People could rent the facility for an evening, for a wedding reception, or for a convention, or for something that was not golf related, to have that out there and have, again, another use for that building if we could do that. So we want that building to be as active as we possibly can. So I'm very much in favor of this. My concern is that we don't make it too small, that we make sure that we make it large enough that's going to handle what we want to need, the pro shop, everything else, because we got one shot at getting this. We're not going to do another one, not in my lifetime. So let's make sure that we make this adequate for what we want. But I love it. I think it's good.
On your big tournaments, if you have 8 sims on a hole and you have 18 holes, it's 144 golf.
Yeah.
Plus volunteers, plus,
That's why we went about
Some
160.
times that you do need to be able to
yeah.
sit that many people.
I think it's important to have enough space for merchandise too. I think that can be a year-round business, especially for women's clothing. It can be hard to find those in any pro shop, so I think it's important to not make that too cramped too. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Could also see about having a hot chocolate bar for the
A
sledding.
hot chocolate bar for sledding, yes.
No hot tub?
We're signing Jordan up for all sorts of things.
Yeah, we're signing, yes.
So I don't know, Jordan, are you going to talk about what your vision is for this, or can he come up, or I didn't know if he's...
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
We've been building this for Jordan to be able to continue the work
Yeah.
he's done, and I do believe that, and I'm gonna state it, we did a year ago, we said we beat our numbers severely. I think, and back me up on this, simulators go, everything goes, I think it could cash flow itself and have no tax income issue to it, because we're close, we were actually profitable on the one side this year, it's not the other. I think it could almost cash flow itself with a reasonable year, and you would not have a tax draw on this facility. God, I said it, it's out there now. But I do think it's possible.
Some of us have been thinking that way, so.
We start doing basic math on $50 an hour, how many days, how many, it goes quickly into an amount of money. It may help to make this thing go cash flow, so.
Jordan, what do you got to say?
First of all, very, very excited with the stuff that we're looking at here. In terms of our golf course, we've bragged maybe even a little bit over this past year about breaking 30,000 rounds for the first time, and countrywide how much golf has exploded. Believe it or not, there were more rounds played on simulators last year than there were on green grass golf facilities. So more rounds played indoors. So that's if we're missing anything right now, it's that aspect of the building. And if we're missing anything right now, something that causes me a lot of heartache, as we get busier and busier, it gets harder for me to teach lessons, because you can't go out on that golf course anymore. We've got somebody on every single hole, which is a beautiful thing. Other than that person that you're trying to make better at golf, it's very, very hard. So as I look at this, and we get done with a very busy weekend, which we did hold one of those tournaments that had 144 people in our building, that maybe doesn't support that very well. This vision right here, that's putting the whole thing together and really maximizing what we can do with this golf course. So as I look at it, I get very giddy. So.
You really think one staff person could manage all
Yeah,
that, or?
You just want to be able to dial it up and dial it down, whereas
Okay.
right now, the two levels, our food and beverage being
Yeah.
upstairs, it's so hard to do.
Yeah.
If you came and visited me tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to do all that out of the pro shop tomorrow, food, beverage, golf. Not set up for that whatsoever. So maybe the experience that we're given tomorrow morning isn't going to be the best that we can do. So just having the ability to dial that down, and for me, during some of those winter hours that maybe get a little slower, to be able to say, no, we don't need any staff, and we can take that burden off our budget, so.
It reminds me of the desk at a nursing home, where you want to be able to see all the action. There you go, place or a hospital, so see who's causing trouble and who's not.
For sure.
Something like that.
I'm just wondering on the training simulator if they're gonna have like different contours for the ground for your footing so that when you have to work about hitting those shots where you're sideways and around a tree.
It's out there. That
I end up with a lot of.
technology's
Any practice
You can
I
have
can
the
get
Tim
on that?
Kangas Bay.
Yeah, exactly. I need
For
those-
challenged
need
golfers.
those- Well, anything with trees in the way, my son would say, hey, look, Dad, there's a tree, you can hit it. Thanks.
For the citizens keeping score at home, the funding of this would not come from the general budget, the budget we're having so much trouble with. This is completely unrelated to that. The process now would be getting these plans more and more specific, and it would eventually have a solid price. And then in November, we'll ask the citizens of Waverly if they want to do this. This will not be a city council decision. This will be all the voters on the first Tuesday of November, and they'll tell us if they want this or not.
First Tuesday following the first Monday.
Thank you. First Tuesday following the first Monday. All right, council, you have more to say? My feeling is that you're all in.
Well, I suppose as someone who is not a huge golfer, I look at this plan, I don't see a lot of fluff that makes me happy.
Yep.
It seems like it's pretty streamlined. As a practical guy, I like seeing the fact that the kitchen is set up for food in, garbage out, really nice and easily. So you're not gonna have to, it's easy access to the parking lot, to the garbage. I like the fact that the kitchen isn't taking up view space, that, all the nice views on the south side is being used appropriately. And the north side, where you've got a nice view of the parking lot, well, that's where the kitchen is, so that kind of makes sense to me. It seems like a good plan. So, and I would love it if it could become cash neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, especially since they just said that.
Yes.
I'm nervous about
I think it's great, and I look forward to seeing more details.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment, as a non-golfer, I tend to not have a constant awareness or appreciation of what a huge asset our golf course is to the community. And having been on the golf commission last year, the numbers just blew me away for how many people come from out of town to utilize our golf course. And I've been so impressed with just how it's run and how things go out there. And the big drawback has been the clubhouse is way past its prime. And I think I'm excited about what we've seen tonight, and I think that adding that and then getting our pool, hopefully, will just really set us up for having great amenities that we need in the community. And we hear a lot, particularly if we spend any time online, about people saying that there's not enough for kids to do in town. And Jordan started an incredible program with junior golfers and trying to bring kids up through the ranks from a young age, and I think this is just going to foster that even more. I'm really excited about it.
Excellent. Are you ready to close this topic? All right, that closes item number 2, and now we open item number 3, review of fireworks ordinance. Who's going to lead us through that?
We put this on, we have new council members, a couple of them, and we've been through this multiple times, every year, every other year. Our goal was just to see if there was interest in any changes or not, and the timing of it was to make sure that if there was a change, broader, narrower, whatever it may be, that we were at time to get our 3 readings in before the season kind of started. So that's the goal tonight. We don't have anything behind it to staff. It was just giving an opportunity of, do you need to make adjustments or not, especially with the new council members, to see what their thoughts are on how we currently sit. So I know Carlos provided the current ordinance, and we just wanted to open it up for discussion if there is any along that point.
So was I reading this correctly, and forgive me, as I was going through the history, I had a little trouble keeping everything in sequence, but have we now for 2 years been on July 3rd and 5th, or July 3rd to 5th, and then New Year's? And that's it, right?
We narrowed it down from originally.
But I think it's been a couple years or so
Yeah.
since we've looked at this, so, yes.
At least 2.
It was passed on September 2020. So 3 years. This will be the 4th year.
And do we have feedback about how it's been working?
I think it depends on who you talk to. I think there's still people that don't want them at all. There's people that enjoy it. I think it's just a wide variety. I don't know, Chief, put you on the spot. I mean, your thoughts on how it's gone, how it is or isn't. Obviously, those 3 days are heavy. It's the other days that we look at and how are they doing, but I don't know if you have any comments, Rich.
I don't. I think over the course of the 3 years that we've narrowed it down, I think is an appropriate time compared to our ordinance originally was mirrored the state when you were allowed to sell them. And that was a lot of time. And when we narrowed the time down, I think people were able to plan for it better. Just having it on the 4th and how that lands could be tough when people are going to celebrate. So having a 1 day, flex, I think helps. And if you eliminate it, I think the issue that we're still having, and that's just our officer being able to get that complaint and respond to it in time, is, if they go for sale, they go up for sale, a month before we're able to use them, and so they're sitting in your home. So there are a few times that citizens are using them outside the scope. If you eliminate it, you're going to have that issue as well. So I don't think just outlawing them is going to change that particular issue. So we just got to make sure we get out there and respond to those when they happen. But I think it's the appropriate amount of time. I think it's a good compromise.
Well, sitting out on my porch, a very unscientific review of this, I think since fireworks were first permitted, I think a lot of the newness is worn off. So I don't think there's nearly the volume. There's still a lot of fireworks going off, but there's not the volume that there was. There are still some fireworks that are going off at times that they're not supposed to go off. But I think that is not nearly as bad as it used to be. That will probably always continue. I don't think there's anything we can do. Even if we totally prohibited fireworks in the city of Waverly, there's still people who are going to shoot off fireworks. So I think this is a reasonable compromise. I don't really have any desire to change this. If we were going to change anything, it might be just to eliminate July 5th. It seems like July 4th, people pretty much get it out of their system, and the amount of fireworks really drops off on July 5th. But I don't really see any major reason that we should go ahead and change this. There isn't any impetus to change it. I'm satisfied with the way it is. I wish we didn't have fireworks, but that decision was made at a higher pay grade than we have. And since there's going to be fireworks, they're going to be sold, they're going to be used. No matter what we say as a council, they're going to be used. So, I think this is a very good compromise. Seems to be working. Some people, and I totally understand the issues that people have with fireworks. I understand the issues that they have with their pets and all of that. Some of the garbage that ends up on their properties, spent rockets and all of that. It's unfortunate that people don't really act in a neighborly fashion all the time, but that's not something we can legislate. I just wish that, I don't want to change the ordinance. I just hope that people are very responsible when they're using fireworks and take into account not just safety, but also how what they're doing is going to affect the people who live around them.
I would agree. I think it's a good compromise. I think, when we first had the rules, we kind of tried a few things and we kept scaling it back. And every time we scaled it back, it was a change in the law and nobody knew what was going on. The fact that we've settled in on a time frame that's consistent. I kind of like doing something consistent, not changing for the sake of changing. I think you're right that during those 3 days, there's a lot of fireworks that go off, but you know when they're going off. We will always have, I mean, fireworks, I know we talk about fireworks going off early. Sometimes I'm under the impression that you got someone who's on the outskirts of town in the county where the city laws don't apply, and it sounds just as loud. You know, I can't tell if they're in the county or in the city. So you're always gonna have some amount of fireworks, you know, going off in the month beforehand. But at least when it's a block away, I know it's only gonna be for a few days. Now, I know I'm suggested we look at, you know, a couple of other holidays like Chinese New Year. I looked at the state ordinance, it's not something we can do. It basically, it's pretty clear about when you, the most expansive dates that you could use, and March is not included in that. So if we wanted to try to change that, that's just not something the city gives, or the state gives us the right to do. So as it is, I like it, I want to keep it.
Okay. Any more discussion on item 3? Carla?
Do you mind?
No, please.
So I would just, for the council's sake, share with you some of the calls that I took last year from disturbed citizens that they don't get paid holidays, and so they had a weekend where they could share fireworks with their family, but they were not allowed to do that because the 3 days fell within the work week, and it happens again this year. So I'm not saying that I want to change, because I actually like this. I just wanted to share so that you were informed about that. You may be getting some calls, and I can't tell you the number of calls I get from people that don't even live in the city limits and think that we somehow govern that, which we don't. But just wanted you to be informed that they also call here too.
And that was one of the scale backs that we had, because at one point we had the weekend before, the weekend after the 4th was acceptable in addition to the.
Well, and it was hard to communicate which days it was part of the problem. Was, you know, like if it's on a Saturday, does it go from the previous Saturday to the next Saturday, or, you know,
Yeah.
So I think just the 3 days, 3rd, 4th, and 5th is easy to communicate. And while there are some people who will be upset that it's too strict, there are also people who are upset that we allow them at all. So that's, in that sense, I think it is a good compromise.
I think so. I think it's working well. I mean, that first year, you know, we had a lot of calls. People had holes in their houses from people shooting fireworks irresponsibly, and I think it's a nice compromise. I mean, if you have post-traumatic stress disorder from military service, it's nice to just say, okay, I need to go to my basement these 3 days, not for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's working fine, and I'm sure it is frustrating for people when it's on a weekday, but we're just trying to compromise.
Okay. All right, you move on to reports from boards and commissions. You have something from P&Z and from the library. They don't need discussion, and that takes us to staff updates. Justin.
Just a quick reminder, special collection is this week, it's ongoing, we've got a lot of phone calls, so if you do call, it might be mid to end of the week right now. Guys' schedules are filling up pretty quick. And then it's yard waste collection as well, curbside for this week and next week. And one other thing that's coming up, Bastions Creek is tentatively, the bridge replacement is tentatively planned for April 29th. That's when demolition is supposed to happen, pending weather, pending everything goes as well, but we're going to be releasing some public notifications here shortly on that.
April 29th? And how long is that going to take, Justin? Estimate?
Best estimate, let's say 2 months is what they're saying, 2.5 months.
And how'd the study end up with the exotic mussels?
I don't think it's happened yet.
Okay. Keep us posted. We all want to know about the mussels. Garrett, you got anything?
Just a reminder, Bob mentioned during the quarterly update, Art Walk is coming up, May 4th. May 4th is a busy day in town. We also have the Try-By Night will be in the morning, pancake breakfast, and opening day of Farmers Market as well. And I'm sure I missed a lot of other things, but
Waverly
those are
soccer
the big
tournament.
4 that I'm aware of.
The soccer tournament.
Yep. There's also a soccer tournament. Thank you.
Chief, you have anything?
That's it tonight, sir.
Alrighty, Councilperson Bergen.
So this past Thursday, I had the opportunity to attend the closing ceremony of the Citizens Police Academy. It was a really good time to see all those participants who are learning more about our police department, see the police officers who are engaging with the community. It reminded me that we've had a lot of people speaking out about how the police department is bigger than it needs to be and how they spend all their time writing tickets. And I wanted to make it clear that our police department does a heck of a lot more than just sit around writing tickets. They are busy doing wellness checks, community outreach, mental health wellness checks. I mean, there are so many things that our police department does, investigations, just emergency response. I think that we are doing them a disservice if we pretend that all they do around is sit around writing tickets. Our police department is engaged in our community, and we have an excellent police department. So I just wanted to make sure that anyone who's complaining that we don't need the police staff that we have, that it's a bloated department, probably should educate themselves on what the police department does. And I'm pretty sure there will be a Citizens Police Academy next year, which would be a great opportunity to do that.
Councilperson Jones.
I echo Brian's comments. I was excited to see the plans on the pro shop. I will be excited to see the plans moving forward on the pool. Excited that we'll have a vote this November. Memorial Park redevelopment's long overdue. And I know this summer's a painful time without the pool, but this city council is committed to moving forward.
Drawings on the pool will be available a couple weeks, 3 weeks?
Probably midsummer. We're
Okay.
still getting the report in on the existing pool and the cost to fix that, which was extensive, so
Yeah.
we'll have that in a few weeks, it looks like.
Councilperson Myers.
I was encouraged to see online today that there was an announcement that the W there's an agreement with the W to help counteract the absence of the outdoor pool this summer, and I think that's encouraging.
Councilperson Wolf.
As weather continues to get nicer, I hope to see everybody out on May 4th. Many of those activities. Waverly is a great place to be, and it's going to be greater.
Thank you, Councilperson Rothi.
Nothing from me.
Councilperson Drenko.
Yeah, well, I want to echo what Brian said. I too was at the Police Academy graduation, and I am constantly reminded of how proud I am of our police department. It's the kind of police department that if I could design a police department, that's the department I would design. I think that the philosophy of the police here is very much in line with how the city of Waverly would like to see the police operate. So you're doing a great job, Chief, and I don't think that you're told that nearly as often as you should be. Second thing is, I was not here for the last two council meetings. It's good to be back here with you guys.
Thank you. We'd like to be back together. Mayor Pro Tem Kangas.
Just along with the activities and stuff that's coming up, the weather is getting nicer, the daylight is later, kids are out and about, activities are happening, so just be careful out on the roads, be alert, pay attention to the flashing beacons that call for you to stop to allow pedestrians to cross the road. And then just, I lost my father-in-law this weekend, so just to everybody, hug your loved ones.
Thank you. Professor, it's your last meeting. I can see the sorrow on your face. Do you have any closing comments?
Well, thank you for the invitation to attend these meetings. It was a privilege. I definitely learned, and I like to learn, so this is a good thing, how your city council works hard, and some of the things that you have before you. I share, and of course I said this last, time we met, I echo the excitement for the new pool and the Memorial Park overhaul, especially in conjunction with what's going on the elevation just above it with the golf. And I honestly had no idea about winter leagues and those. I'm jonesing to try it, to be clear. So anyway, thank you, and hope the rest of your year goes well.
Thank you. I talk a lot about being kind and hashtag Waverly kind, and Julie's 100% right. President Becky at Wartburg College, she and I have been in communication, and they are going to lower the price by 50% of their adult pool pass, bringing it down to what the city used to charge. So it'll be $5 a day for kids, $5 a day for adults. And exactly when those community times will be, they're hoping to expand that if possible. That all depends on staffing. That is to say, can they hire enough lifeguards? But those numbers will come out around Memorial Day, so we'll know. But I'm just so pleased with the college for seeing that we have a problem and saying, well, our friends in the city are having trouble, how can we step up? And, and people have a choice. They can sit back and complain, or they can step up and help. And the college has decided to step up and help, and that is being Waverly kind. The college has also worked out a deal with the Shell Rock pool so that the girls' swim team will be able to practice. So I'm not sure what the deal is they've worked out, but that's what I was told. So we got that problem behind us. Everyone is right about May 4th. Firefighter pancakes, you don't want to miss that, because I go every year, they're really good pancakes. That's at the fire station. If you're already at the fire station, I mean, why move your car? Just walk across the street, and there's the art walk. Then the chamber is throwing some kind of downtown open house. And then the farmer's market's open. All those things are within an easy walk of each other. Just spend the day downtown spending money. So I'd also like to wish you and all the people online a happy Earth Day today. And for those who are celebrating, this is also the first day of Passover, so blessed Passover to those folks. I don't see any other business in front of us for the public, so I'll close by saying, Waverly, be kind. We will now entertain a motion to move into executive session. This is to discuss the purchase or sale of a particular real estate only where the premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the governmental body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price the governmental body would receive for that property. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll move we enter into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. And that is a roll call vote. Carla?
Bergen?
Yep.
Drinkow?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Kangas?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Rafi?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
That passed unanimously. We are now going to move into closed session. If the tech would turn off the cameras.